Hey guys, XJ9 here, and today's going to be the patch 13.10 notes. I've been gone for a while, mostly because the patches have been kind of uninteresting slash... Really, that's it. It's uninteresting. This patch is very interesting, and I thought I'd share my thoughts because some things are very good in this patch, but there's like a handful of questionable decisions, so I kind of want to talk about it. First off, the patch is going to be delayed by 24 hours, so I'll let you know. Auction, I honestly didn't really care about them. What really happened with them, I didn't actually really read this. I mostly cared about the item changes. This is just he has AP ratios. This is all this really is. It's something about mirror. I don't really care. So really, end of the day, auction just got AP ratios. Callista got some AP ratios. Kindred got some AP ratios in the case some troll Rageblade build happens. Same thing with Callista. I think Callista does build Rageblades though, so it's probably a bit more impactful. But again, it's not even that big. It's just some slight damage buffs. I'm not even going to honestly get into the details of it. Neeko got buffed, mostly in jungle, which is very interesting because before the Neeko changes, I actually thought Neeko jungle was quite good. Like, it was a good situational pick. That, like, not always good, obviously, because of how she is as a champion. But yeah, they decided to buff the Q and W monster damage from 30 to 70 to 35 to 95 for a Q, and her W just got a flat out from 50 to 75 damage on the third hit passive. So pretty crazy buffs. I feel like the win rate of Neeko jungle is low because people aren't used to like old school junglers where you have to hit and like really stay behind and like really know how something paths and know exactly when to like go out of leash range and stuff. This makes it a bit more streamlined, but for those good Neeko players like myself, yeah, like myself, we'll be able to really just like power farm and power counter jungle, like because again, this really helps with like speed, clearing. Another thing that's interesting is the builds. Like I haven't really looked at the builds that people do. I'm not sure if like Nashor's Tooth Neeko is good. I haven't really experimented, so I don't really know exactly the builds. But chances are people are doing poor builds. Like if you're going jungle Neeko, you probably want to go AP. Although because this is all base damage, it might be better to go. Like that might be better, but it might be situational that you go like 80, maybe even a fighter Neeko. But like again, it gets to a point where it's like, why are you playing Neeko if you're not playing her like bursty or like kitey nature of the champion? So again, mostly just experiments slash people don't. Neeko's one of those champions where people build weird things. Like again, for example, Blitzcrank jungle is. I actually think Blitzcrank jungle is actually pretty good. It cheap items. It is probably even stronger this patch because of the cheap support items, but people build AP on it. Like they build stupid troll items, so that's what really tanks the win rate. No one plays Blitzcrank jungle right now, even though it's still good. So just saying, like a lot of times the win rate of a champion is because of build and then even play style. Because like people aren't used to jungle blitz just because you're not playing that big carry jungle that gets fed. If you get fed, you better be tower diving more and stuff. Another change with Neeko though was her R got a 20% AP ratio buff from 100 to 120, so there's that. Vayne got an AP ratio buff on her tumble. If she has Rageblade, she'll actually get 15 more damage on her Q, so that's actually not something to scoff at. Some crit item changes. This is the big changes I actually care about. Bloodthirster in general did not get changed at all. The only thing that changed was it has 3% more lifesteal from 15 to 18. And I believe, because they didn't say removed, but I'm pretty sure the old passive was. I'm not sure because they actually sometimes forget to put something here. But I'm assuming the old passive was removed where you get that shield, the overheal shield. But now it's while above 50% HP, you gain 10 to 40 attack damage based on level. This is definitely for the backline AD carry. I doubt that you would build this item on a champion like Bel'Veth because you're in there. People are going to focus you, and once you go below 50%, you don't benefit anymore. So this is really for that backline AD carry that has a lot of lifesteal, a lot of peel, because it does a lot of damage, and it probably pairs very well with like Infinity Edge because again, Infinity Edge loves AD. Gale Force. This item's still a mythic. What really changed about it? The build order got changed. I don't really care too much about the build order. I'm not saying all that. You can read that if you want. Attack damage though was 60. Now it's 55. Attack speed was 20. Now it's 15%. But in exchange for the attack damage and attack speed change, you now have 7% bonus movement speed. This is very powerful because it's not out of combat movement speed; it's just flat out 7% movement speed, which is pretty crazy. So, Jins or if the Jin has trouble against these assassins diving or a cannon, you probably want to build a Gale Force instead of getting an Infinity Edge because it even says 90% damage is better than 0%. So don't be greedy over. I want to do a little bit more damage with IE because you'd be surprised. Like the damage is significant, but again, if you can't get in there, because the Gale Force is more. Oh my god, I was like, okay, sorry, I just loaded a page about Gale Force, but it's more about than the active. You now have the moon speed, so it makes your AD carry more mobile. Another change they did though was what we call it, the the active of it now scales with critical strike chance. So 150 to 350 plus up to 250 based on crit chance. So every 20% crit gives it 50 damage, or every 10% crit gives it 25 damage. So you could actually do, I mean, at level 18, very extreme, you do 600 damage plus 60% bonus. So pretty crazy damage for getting picks. Like, say the front line, like the fighter got caught, the Aatrox went in, but he got CC'd and in a bad spot. This can finish off that Aatrox and prevent him from going from 1% HP to 100%. So I like that Gale Force, IE, and Navori are all. I really am a big fan of the change of them being you can't have them all. You have to pick which one. I like that. Not every game you're going to see the Gale Force IE. I like that. Typhoon just got buffed. The Wait, what? There was anything else changed? I mean, again, I'm not sure if Gale Force had this Mythic pass already. It doesn't really say, but it gives 580 for every legendary item you have. Typhoon, which is the Ornn upgrade, which is something you rarely see because even though Ornn's busted, no one plays him. Attack damage was 80, now it's going to be 70. Attack speed was 35, now it's 30. And the movement speed went from 70% to 9%, but again, it's the new, so yeah, this is actually quite a strong Ornn item because again, movement speed is pretty strong. 10%. It's pretty much 10% movement speed, so it's essentially 28 movement speed or 27 movement speed. It depends on if you have boots and stuff and passives and stuff. So yeah, at least 30, which is pretty crazy. Gunso's Rageblade, or yeah, what's his name? I think. It's not mythic. Total cost was bumped up from 2,600 to 3,200. The build was changed, but I don't really care about that. You can read that if you want. It now has 30 attack damage, 30 ability power. The attack speed was nerfed from 45% to 25%. The unique passive new is attack supply 30 magic damage on hit. Convert your critical strike chance up to 150 more. Is that new? Because I know it converted. Hmm. I think it didn't have a flat amount. It just converted, right? So I guess it has now upfront 30 damage on hit. Basic attacks now grant a stack of 8% attack speed up to 4 times. At max stacks, every third attack applies on hit effects twice. Empowers each of your other legendary items with 5% magic armor pen and 6% magic pen. This item is pretty freaking crazy. Again, on the users that want it. But would a champion like Belveth build this? No. She doesn't really have AP ratios, and she's not even a full-on attack speed champion. And she just can't really utilize the ability power or the magic pen really that well. And believe it or not, Belvet's on hit effect twice is kind of hard to do because even though her R applies on hit effects on a target, it's hard to time it with the passive of this item. So on items like Kog'Maw though, it's pretty bust. Kog'Maw is probably gonna be legit a 53-54% win ratio champion because spoilers, Lord Damas Regards now has just flat out gonna have a 35% magic pen. So you got 35% magic pen plus, let's just say you have a full build with this, you're gonna have 24 magic pen. So you're gonna have 59 magic pen and 54% armor pen on a Kog'Maw. That already does a billion percentage damage. So Kog'Maw is just so broken this patch. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how broken. You're gonna see those Lulu Kog'Maws. This is not. It's gonna be so. I'm not joking. I think you might have to ban Kog'Maw. Okay, I really do. This is the Ornn Mythic upgrade. We don't really care too much about that. Is it really that cost? I mean, it's pretty streamlined. Yeah, it's just a bump up of 10 and 10 to 80, 10 attack speed, and 20 ability power. Hearthbound Axe, the total cost was bumped up from 1,000 to 1,100, and it now builds out of. Well, I don't actually care about what it builds out of, honestly. It's just double longsword. Double longsword is actually better than longsword and dagger, so it's actually kind of a buff. The attack damage was buffed too from 15 to 20. So this item is actually its item was also already pretty good to get on out of back, but now it's like it's competitive with like the old recurve bow, but recurve bow was changed this patch. But um, pretty interesting. Again, it depends on what items it's built out of, but yeah, this item is already pretty strong, so they really just bumped it up a lot. So, but again, it does cost 100 more gold. So yeah. Immortal Shieldbow is now not mythic. The total cost was from 3,400 to 3,000. The build was changed. Everything wasn't changed except the attack speed. The attack speed was 20%. Now it's 0. And they nerfed the shield. It's now when you go below 30% HP, it's now 215 to 500 base and level shield for 3 seconds. And it's backloaded towards the later levels. So if you're level 17 to 18 is a bigger buff to the shield than 12 to 13. So the shield got nerfed quite a bit actually. At least later on, not so much early, but more so later on. When the lifeline triggers, you also gain attack speed, 30% attack speed for 8 seconds instead of 15 to 35 AD for 8 seconds. It's also a flat attack speed, so it's interesting you get that attack speed. So you get that attack speed that the item had removed. I'm not sure, again, like, is this item good to build on fighters like Belveth? Or is it better to build Sterix, Because she's an attack speed champion, so like if it doesn't have attack speed, shouldn't you just maybe just I don't know. It really depends. I would have to experiment. Maybe it's just situational, which is always good if it's situational. It's always good if I have to debate in my head: is Immortal Shieldbow better or Sterix better? That's what you want. You don't want to just be like, no, this item is better on spell with. Like if it's like that, I think it's bad. So it's probably honestly just situational. Infinity Edge is now mythic. Nothing was changed at all except now it has a mythic passive, which is it grants legendary items 580. They said that's a poor legendary mythic passive, but it's actually very strong, especially with IE because, well, you deal more crit damage, and since crit damage scales with AD, it's actually very strong. So I don't agree with them saying it's a weak mythic passive. It's actually quite powerful. So I don't know what they're talking about. Edge of Infinity wasn't changed. It's just 180. It's just the Ornn passive. Uh, I don't this spark shard item. I'm not even gonna say that name. I don't know how to say that. Got quite a significant buff. The gold cost is the same. The build is better. Instead of being a dagger and 400 gold, it's now longsword and 350 gold. The attack damage is 50. It has 1580 now, and it had the attack speed removed. It used to have 15% attack speed, now it's 0. And unique passive, it was energized attacks apply 80 bonus magic damage. Now it's energized attacks apply 60 bonus magic damage. So it's pretty interesting because again, it's more high value and maybe an item you should consider early on AD carry, or maybe even again, I'm not sure if a jungler would actually build this item, but the fact it gives 1580 means it's stronger in upfront duels and even like general clearing probably. So yeah, it's just like better early game item because you never see this item built. You usually see it skipped entirely, so that's nice. Kraken Slayer got changed. It's now a legendary. It's not a mythic anymore. Total cost reduced from 3,400 to 3,000. The build is also a little bit different. So instead of a pickaxe, it now requires a recurve bow plus a noon quiver, which is interesting because there used to be a debate on champions like Viego and Belveth where it's like, do you get noon quiver or recurve bow, but then have to build Kraken Slayer or blade? But now it's like, oh, if I had a bad early game or didn't find any ganks, you can back and buy that recurve bow because it's only 700 gold. And if you did get a gank, you get the noon quiver. So it's actually quite interesting. I also kind of like it because what the old recurve bow and noon quiver kind of encouraged on champions like Belveth and Vigo is that if they do not get that one kill early, they essentially fall extremely behind because they do not have their noon quiver or recurve bow to help clear on their next back. So overall, I think snowballing is actually probably reduced with this. I don't think that was the goal at all, but it's probably reduced and more consistent clears will happen with these champions, and it will be less punishing if it's not it can not even be your fault that there's no kills. It's just, oh, there's no kills. Oh well, I at least I can buy my recurve bow. So let's continue on. Attack damage was 65, it's now 40. Attack speed was 25%, now it's 30%. So, as I say, got the attack speed buff. Belveth likes that a lot. Critical strike chance is the same. So, as a new passive, so instead of doing that true damage, it's now every third attack applies 20 plus 60% total AD plus 45% AP bonus magic damage. So, it's not true damage, it's magic. Subsequent triggers on the same target within 6 seconds. Increases damage by 50% up to 100% of the increased damage. So if you proc it twice, it'll do double damage, and your third one's going to hit a lot. If this works on jungle monsters with no penalty, this is actually an incredibly strong item on champions like Viego and Belveth, because they will melt Baron, they will melt Dragon very fast. They can melt Baron fast as long as someone's tanking it, though, because again, it's magic damage, not true damage. So you have to make sure someone's tanking it. Again, it's total AD. It's not even base AD. So if you're building those AD items, which Belveth does do, Viego does. So I'm not sure how. I think I believe it's stronger. It's just as strong after like the first hit. So like when you or the first proc. So after 6 hits or 2 procs to the item, it's pretty much just as strong as Old Kraken. And after when you get to like the third hit, the third proc, it's like a little bit stronger. Then it gets like way stronger than the Old Kraken. So this item is so good. I am very curious on whether or not Kraken Slayer or Blade King is going to be better on Belveth first, or even both. I'm not sure. That's something that's very worth experimenting. But again, the fact that Kraken Slayer does more damage on a single target can help significantly with a clear, because it's not like when you switch targets you lose the stacks. As long as you hit the target with the big hit, it will proc all the damage and continue stacking up. Mikael's Scimitar was buffed from 40 magic MR to 50 MR. Moral Reminder was buffed from 3580 to 4080. It's mostly because no one builds Mikael's Scimitar and no one builds Moral Reminder, because if AD carries that build Grievous Runes, they get a huge damage decrease, and because the meta is like, just feed the AD carry and protect them. Mikael's Scimitar is interesting because people do build sashes, but yeah, it's just an item you would only see like 6th. Like maybe you would see this. Again, I'm curious if people would actually finish this item out, just because again, 10 more MR, 50 MR is not too bad. I think Quicksilver is 25 MR, so double that MR. But I don't know. We'll see. Again, it's a better late game item though. The Vorag Quick Blades is now a mythic, and nothing was really changed besides your legendary items will now give you 5 ability haste, and I don't think anything else was changed. It's weird that they say unchanged here, but then they didn't put unchanged like as they went on. So I don't know. Moonquiver. This is some troll thing. Blah blah. Family Answer. I'm not sure if this is a buff or a nerf. It's very interesting. So the total cost was 2600. Now it's 2800. The attack speed was increased from 25% to 30% though. And the build was Longsword Zeal plus Longsword plus 850 gold. Now it's Hearthbound Axe plus Zeal plus 600 gold. So the pro is that it's more slot efficient, because you would usually build this item like second or third. So if you buy control wards and if you have health potions, like your refill potion as an AD carry, maybe you wouldn't have room for it or something. So having it as a Hearthbound Axe and Zeal is more slot efficient. / I think the passives are stronger. That like again, Hearthbound Axe has the movement speed passive, so it's a bit stronger than the Longsword. So it's probably a neutral buff. It might be a slight nerf, but it's probably a buff just because Hearthbound Axe is quite better now. So yeah. Also, the attack speed went up, so it's not like it was because if it did not have that attack speed buff, it would be more close to like, oh wait, this might be a nerf. But yeah, it's probably a neutral change that feels better. Rage Knife. Total cost was 800. This is now 1200. It was Dagger plus 200 gold. Now it's Dagger plus 600 gold. Attack speed unchanged. Not new passives. This item grants 20 magic damage on hit. And unique passive new is attacks grants 5% attack speed, stack up to 3 times up to a maximum of 50% attack speed. Well, the thing that can matter here is how long do the stacks last for? Do they all go? If you have 3 stacks and the timer runs out, do you go to 0 or does it deteriorate? Like they don't say that, so it's hard to judge how strong this item is. I don't play MPB, so I don't know how strong the item is, but regardless, the 20 magic damage on hit is quite powerful because it applies to everything, so it helps CSing for attack speed champions. So this really just helps streamline building that Gunso's Rageblade early. So champions like Kog'Maw, like the biggest issue with building like attack speed on those champions is it's very hard to last hit because you do not have any AD. So the 20 magic damage on hit will help a lot. So pretty good. Also, while you're less hitting, you can also build up stacks before you engage. So it's actually quite a strong item now. So I definitely think this item will be built more. Again, I'm not sure what type of champions would build this in jungle, but it's just generally a very strong item now. Rapid fire cannon cost was increased from 2,500 to 3,000. The new attack damage it has 30 attack damage now. It had none before. Attack speed was 35%. Now it's 15%. Nothing else was changed. The only other thing was changed was that it deals 60 to 140 based on level magic damage on hit instead of 120 flat. It's generally a ginormous buff. 20 attack speed in exchange for 30 AD is huge, but again, the gold cost did increase, but it encourages the play pattern of like just like because they did say this, the play pattern of like doing one big hit and then running away. Not the attack speed doesn't benefit you as much. So this item is actually probably stronger to get second because my biggest issue with getting this item second was that you just don't deal that much damage on you kind of just like hit very wet bullets like if you're playing Caitlyn, I guess. Recurve bow. This is the big change. Total cost was 1,000. Now it's 700. Build was dagger plus 400 gold. Now it's just dagger plus 400 gold. Attack speed was 25%. Now it's 15%. The unique passive was changed from 15 bonus physical damage on hit to 15 bonus magic damage on hit. I think in general on junglers, I think this is a buff because I don't think jungle monsters really have much MR. At least I think. Like Gromp doesn't have much MR, so this does more damage against Gromp. I don't think it's a big deal that it was changed to magic overall. It probably is a bit of a buff because people don't have much magic resist compared to armor early. Unless you're playing a champion that likes armor pen, but like armor pen champions tend not to build a recurve bow. So again, this having a 700 gold is ginormous just for that power spike of having the damage on hit. Runaan's Hurricane was increased from 2,600 gold to 2,800 gold. It is now Zeal plus recurve bow plus 1,000 gold. And attack speed was nerfed from 45% to 40. Unique passive new. Attacks apply 30 magic damage on hit, so that's new. That's very powerful. It's just added on just for 200 gold. And the unique passive of the bolts themselves, it was 40% of your total AD. Now it's 50%. Again, just for 200 gold, this is what you're getting. And losing 5 attack speed, like who cares? Wind Fury now additionally searches for any minions in range if no champions can be found, and that it already does that, but they just added a line of code so that it can hit like it actively like looks for minions if there's no champions because some weird bad coding was done. So again, this item is way stronger now. Again, this is the Kog'Maw meta I'm talking about. This patch, Kog'Maw is gonna be the most broken thing in the world. Like I'm not even joking. Along with the support item, like he's just gonna be busted. Stack Shift. I'm not sure about this item. To me, it always just sounds bad. Stack Shift is back. Total cost 3,000 gold. Noon Quiver, Cloak of Agility, the shard item plus 400 gold. Attack damage is 45, attack speed 25, crit is 20. Your energized attacks fires chain lightning that applies 60 to 170 plus 50% AP bonus magic damage. These energized attacks will hit 6 to 12 targets. Does that scale off level? Like, what does it mean 6 to 12 targets? You know what I mean? They chain to the next target within 600 range every time it deals damage, and they deal 120 bonus damage to monster minions. I'm pretty sure that means 20% bonus damage because, like, I think the value is at 100%, and so I think it's just 20% bonus damage to minions. I'm not sure. I'm just confused what I mean by 6 to 12 targets. Like, does it scale with level? I don't know because why not just say it will hit up to 12 targets? So like it'll bounce up to 12 times. What's the point of saying 6 to 12? Like I mean, maybe I'm being stupid, but whatever. Stormrazor. Total goal was 2,700. Now it's 3,000. Attack damage was 45, now it's 55. Attack speed is the same, crit chance is the same, and now you're now essentially, instead of slowing the target, it now gives you 45% movement speed for 1 second. This is pretty interesting on quite a few champions. I guess just range, because again, there's no melee buff on that, which is kind of sad. I would have liked to see if your melee, the movement speed buff is 2 seconds or something like that. I think that would have been cool. But because of how it is, it's probably mostly just range gated, or melee gated, I should say. So I'm tempted to build some champions like Belveth because but there's probably better items. So I kind of just wish there was a melee incentive to build item. But overall, it's way better if you pair this with rapid fire cannon. You deal more damage and you get to move away, which is pretty crazy. So you can be very slippery. Pair Stormrazor plus rapid fire cannon plus Gale Force. I don't know how anyone could even get you, honestly. So because Gale Force gives bonus movement speed and this gives movement speed, so it adds up together or multiplies. The collector got flat out buff, which is crazy. Lethality was 12, now it's 18. Overall, it's probably correct, just because lethality in general got kind of changed a lot this patch. A lot of lethality items were changed, so I'm fine with them buffing that because lethality champions have kind of just been in the gutter for a while. So having this be some kind of crit lethality item, maybe you do the collector into Navori Quick Blades as a lethality champion can be a thing. So we'll see. I've always thought about that. Whenever I thought of collector, I always thought of Navori Quick Blades. So maybe you can still do that. Zeal total cost was increased by 50 gold. Attack speed was 18, now it's 15. Movement speed was 7%, now it's 5%. Zeal bonus is no longer a unique passive, so the bonus movement speed. But no one does that. That was just an old troll thing. People used to build 5 Zeals. Lol. Dustblade. It got rid of the passive damage when you're unseen. Now you deal 50% bonus magic damage based on target's missing HP, maximized at 20% missing HP. So very good on casters and big new casters. Um, hmm. I'm not sure. This is interesting. This is thinking. And now instead of going invisible, you now go untargetable. Sadly, when you go untargetable, shots uh, do not get destroyed or miss. In Dota, if you go stealth, the shots miss, which is kind of funny. I guarantee that's why I guarantee there are some writers that play Dota, and they're like, we have to say that unlike Dota, they won't miss if you go stealth. So it's not stealth; it's just untargetable. But yeah, it's mostly for casters. Just do note, if you're building this on a champion like Vi, which I don't think you should do. If you get a kill, if you auto attack as soon as you kill someone, you're gonna be targetable right away. Because this is why they said it's good on casters like Kiana. Polar's Call is now a legendary item. Total cost was reduced by 100 to 3,000. Attack damage reduced from 60 to 55. Ability haste was 20, now it's 15. Lethality was 18, now it's 15. It now no longer has an active. Now it's after dashing, blinking, or exiting stealth, your next attack on an enemy champion deals 85 plus 45% 80, 65 plus 30% 80 for range, 10-second cooldown. If the owner is melee, the attack also slows by 99% for 0.5 seconds. I'm not sure who this is good on. I guess it'd be good on Zed for going in and comboing and slowing the target, because if he goes in and ults, even if they flash, they're slowed for 0.5, so which can make for easy shuriken. So I think this item is definitely still good. I think people just have to be creative and know when to utilize the passive, because it also says your next attack, so does that include ability or is it auto attack? I'm guessing any ability or auto attack. So again, this item is probably very strong on Zed because it helps you line up your shurikens better. They talk about Rek'Sai as well, and Talon, which is funny. Yoma's Ghostblade got changed. Total cost was 3,000, now it's 3,100. It is also now a mythic. It's not a legendary anymore. It's a mythic item. Attack damage was bumped up from 55 to 60. Ability haste was 15, now it's 20. Active the active was 20% bonus movement speed. Now it's 25% bonus movement speed. They got rid of out of combat movement speed. However, as a new passive, where moving generals generate shards, for each stack gain 0.4 movement speed up to 40 movement speed. So you pretty much get the old passive that they removed back out of combat. At maximum stacks, gain 8 to 20 based on level lethality. These stacks reset 3 seconds after dealing damage to an enemy champion while at maximum stacks. So I'm not sure if you lose these stacks if you enter combat, but if you don't lose the stacks when you like, if you can gain these stacks and they are only consumed when you go into champion combat, it literally means you have a 8 to 20 based on level lethality that can help you jungle clear and stuff. So it's actually quite powerful. Uh, One thing I do find funny is that why are they doing 8 to 20 based on level lethality? Because lethality, the whole point of lethality was to make armor pen scale. So they're making lethality scale. So they're making the armor pen scaling scale. So if they're doing this, why didn't they just do armor pen scaling, where like instead of Bruiser giving 11 armor pen, why not make it 3 to 11 armor pen based on level? I honestly think they should just remove lethality and just name it back to armor pen, because look at Lord Domus Regards. It's still called armor penetration. It's not called lethality penetration. So doesn't lethality add a lot of confusion? Like, how do you even know how much armor you're even penetrating? So I think lethality is honestly stupid. I think that change, like, I remember when they did that change. They were like, oh, this is the biggest change, and people loved it. I don't know why. I always thought it was stupid because it's hard to calculate how much armor pen you even have. The unique passive is you have 780 for each legendary item. So again, this is a very strong item as well, and it's a mythic. So this is probably the go-to, honestly, mythic for assassins. That's some Ornn item. Abyssal Mask got changed. Total cost was 3,000. Now it's 2,400. Health was reduced from 550 to 300. The build was also changed. I'm not talking about that. Ability haste is the same. Magic resist was 40, now 60, so it's very good. I'll, I, I'll get that. So pretty much it's unchanged with the passive. However, they did remove the deal. If you take damage, you get mana or whatever it was. I didn't like that. I don't like it when they add those laning things where you get mana or something based on like spent HP or something, because it gates it a lot of the power to laning. I was a big fan of the first Abyssal Mass. This Abyssal Mass is closer to the first, like the Abyssal Mass from like 2 years ago. This side is probably so very strong on champions like Fiddlesticks, even Arn Soul, because like Arn Soul, he builds, Rod of Ages and stuff, so he has a lot of HP, so he can really use this item. I think this item is definitely going to be built on, like, I think this item is really good in Fiddlesticks. You don't get the full pen, but like if you're against a LeBlanc, you don't want to build a Banshee's Veil against a LeBlanc. You want to build an Abyssal Mass against a LeBlanc, because you don't want to lose damage. Like, Fiddlesticks is a champion that you don't want to lose damage with every item you build, and building Banshee Veils makes you lose that damage. Um, so overall, I've never seen a support tank build this item. I mean, maybe a support will build this item. I guess they will. I mean, I guess they will since it's cheaper, but like, it's actual carries will still build this item. Artist Sensor was reduced by 200 gold. Uh, Ability power was 60, now it's 35. Base mana regen was reduced by 25%. Healing shield power was unchanged. It now has 5% movement speed, which is really strong, again, for those. Because, again, it's an enchanter item, so having an enchanter be mobile is pretty crazy. Let me take a sip and drink. Okay. It was also buffed slightly with the on-hit damage and attack speed. So it was 10 to 30% attack speed based on ally level. Now it's 15 to 30% based on ally level. And also the on-hit was 5 to 20. Now it's 15 to 30. Pretty big buff. The big nerf to it, though, is that you get less ability power. But I don't think they care too much about that. Because usually the ratios of enchanters wasn't too good. And if they did have like Nami's on-hit effect with like the on-hit damage that slows, it wasn't that good. So I think overall this item feels better to build, and it's just generally stronger. The 5% movement speed will really help in positioning with enchanters. I like this a lot. I like that because the worst thing about enchanters is like you're not tanky. So I hope they're going for this. I hope they're going for it where enchanters are not too fast, but a little bit more nimble than the average tank support. I like that. Again, it's either you be a huge brick wall or you're a slightly nimble enchanter that actually buffs people. Chalice of Blessing is some item that just supposed to fill some niche of mana regen. I don't care too much about it. You can read it if you want. Chemtech Purifier was over nerfed, or Putrefier. It was over nerfed, so they're literally saying, well, we're buffing it. Again, they did say we nerfed this so much because we want no one to build the item, essentially. So they're buffing it because no one built the item. So they reduced the gold power from 2,300 to 2,100. Ability power was 40, now it's 35. Ability haste is unchanged. Base margin was decreased, but I'll be honest, when you build this item second or third, you probably don't care about it. Heal and shield power was buffed from 8% to 10%, which is pretty big. And so overall, this item is probably a lot stronger. People still do build this item second. I think you might honestly see this item more second. Again, there isn't as much healing in League as you think there is nowadays. So again, it is situational. It is a very cheap item for it to get a strong mythic path. Sorry, mythic passive bonus. Echoes of Helia. It's a new item. It's weird because they say this is a spiritual successor to a much beloved item of olden times. And I have no idea what item they're talking about. And I played this game forever, so I have no idea. It's 2300 gold. Chalice of Harmony plus Bandle Glass Mirror plus 400 gold. Ability power is 30. 200 HP. 15 ability haste. 125 base mana regen. And the unique passive is dealing damage to an enemy champion grants a soul charge up to 2 max. Healing or shielding an ally consumes all soul shards and restores 20 to 100 based on ally's level health and deals 30 to 200 based on ally's level magic damage per shard to the nearest enemy champion. Gain 3 ability power per 25% base regen. That disables harmony. And the mythic passive is empowers each of your legendary items with 5 ability haste. Overall, it's just deal damage to a champion, get a shard. If you heal them, it'll heal them for more, and it'll deal damage to a champion. Again, it's hard to judge how strong this item is because they don't say the range of how close the ally has to be for the shard to shoot out and hit an enemy champion. It's hard to judge, but overall, it encourages the play pattern of like a Nami or even a Lux, I guess, if her shield's a low cooldown. I'm not sure if it's good on Yumi. It might be good on Yumi. As long as you can hit your consistent Qs, I guess. It also says that dealing damage, so it includes auto attacks, I think, not even just ability damage. So that actually makes it quite a bit stronger if it actually is auto attacks as well. So yeah, I can actually see this be built on Yumi with like Imperial Mandate. Or an item. Overall, the stats are pretty good, I guess. Interesting to note is that the mana regen goes up with the upgrade, and you get it's essentially a buff of 12 ability power when you upgraded this item with simply because of the mana regen. Even Shroud. Oh, I thought it was Ever Shroud. Jesus. You know what? What a stupid name. They should just call it Shoulder Pad. So total cost was 2,500. Now it's 2,300. They changed the build path from Kindlegen plus Aegis Legion plus 500 gold to Lifewell Pendant plus Null Magic Mantle plus 800 gold. And nothing else was changed about it. So again, the only nerf is that you don't have as many stats until you build the item, but it's such a cheap item, 2,300 gold, that doesn't really matter. I can't tell you how many times I couldn't even buy the Ages of a Legion because it was like 1,300 or 1,500 gold. So overall, this item is mega buff. People were already building this, like Bias were building this, Hackrooms were building this, Blitzcranks were building this. So you just have to be situational on who built it because even though it's such a strong item, you don't want everyone to build the item because you can only benefit from the passive once. I also vaguely remember them saying that the 10% damage increase when you CC or get CC'd, doesn't apply to you. I'm not sure about that. I don't like that they didn't say this. I looked at the wiki, they didn't say anything about it. So, hey, if you know, hey, maybe leave a comment and say the 10% damage increase does help amplify your damage. But I swear I vaguely remember them saying it doesn't increase your own damage. It only helps ally damage. Again, I kind of wish they said that. Imperial Mandate got flat out buffed. It is now whatchamacallit. Yeah, so Imperial Mandate was shifted down to a legendary tier item to open up the amount of champions. It's kind of weird because it's like they didn't like so because I almost thought they didn't change this to a legendary item, but it says they said they shifted it down to a legendary item. Why does it not say here? Why does it not say here that it was from a mythic to a legendary? It doesn't say it, but let's just assume this is a legendary item because based on how they worded it, they literally said we lowered it to a legendary item. It's now 200 gold less. A new build path, which doesn't really matter. The ability power was increased from 40 to 55. Ability haste unchanged. Base mana regen unchanged. And the only nerf it had was when you immobilize or slow a champion, it was 45 to 75% damage, 75 damage. Now it's 35 to 75. And when an ally hits, it was 90 to 150 damage. Now it's 70 to 150. The thing about this is that, one, the gold cost was decreased. You got 15 ability power, even though the gold cost was decreased by 200. So already, even though you're nerfing the damage early, chances are whoever's building this item will make up the damage simply because of their AP ratios, the enchanter. So it doesn't even matter. But also on top of that, it's not like you actually get the same damage, as you go on. Like if you're level like 18, which doesn't happen, but like as you go on, that you'll end up with the same damage, but and even early on you end up with the same damage simply because of the ability power. So you also just get an overall damage buff, and also each level the damage it deals with the passive will go up more because there's more. I almost want to call it sync like Dofus, but it's not sync. But there's more of a gap, so the number is greater. Knight's Vow got changed. Gold cost decreased by 100, health decreased by 50. Some new build. Ability haste lowered by 5. Now it's 15% ability haste. Base health regen was 200%. Now it's 125%. And that wasn't changed. So the biggest change here was that it will redirect 10% of pre-mitigation damage they take to you. Before it was post-mitigation. They're saying it's the same, but I think it's actually like, I swear to God, this item actually got a a 50 to 100% buff in effectiveness. I might be wrong because how I think of it was like I don't want to really say it, but like if you take 1,000 damage and so, I know I'm going to explain, but essentially I think it's double. Maybe it is the same. I don't want to explain because it honestly kind of annoys me, this change, because it's like I think it's poorly explained. But it might be the same. They say it's the same, but you take more damage. But I honestly think they just worded this poorly, because how they worded it to me is like a 70% to a 100% buff in terms of like reducing the damage on the target, and you take a bit more. But they're saying you take a little bit more, but it's reduced to the same. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's just poorly worded, or maybe I'm stupid, or maybe they're stupid. We'll find out. Maybe you get what I mean by that. Life Well Pendant total cost was 1,000. Oh no, this is some new item. It's just some generic item that's supposed to be for support tanks. The build. I really want to explain this. Maybe I'll explain this in the comments sometime. Honestly, with the Knight's Vow, it just kind of bothers me because it's like, if you take 1,000 damage, okay, I'll try to say it. If you take 1,000 damage, okay, 10% of the damage, okay, that's 100 damage. But now it's gonna be like that's how it is now, because it's pre mitigation. So before resist, if I take 1,000, okay, but I have 50% armor, so it's only a 500, but it's reducing damage by 100, so it's 400. Okay, we have that. So I only take the 80 carry would take 400 damage. Then it's okay if it's pre mitigation, it's I take 50% of the 1,000. It's 500 damage. So 10% of 500 is 50. So it's 450 damage. So isn't it literally like a double buff? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm being stupid about it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being stupid. Locket of the Iron Sword got buffed. So the cost was reduced from 2,500 to 2,300. There's a little bit of a new build. Again, Lifewell Pendant is essentially the new Ages of Legion. Everything else was unchanged. The thing that was buffed was that instead of being a 180 to 330 shield, it's now a 200 to 360 shield, um, based on a target's level. So based on a target, I'm assuming based on the ally's level. I'm not sure. Why not say ally? Because what's the target? Is the target you? I guess I guess they say target because it's also you yourself. So it's to be more, yeah. So it's based on the ally's level and your own level. The shield scales. Um, Unchanged. So overall, this item just got flat out buffed. So Locket Iron Sword was already super strong. So if you're playing a more supportish, or just want rounded stats for team fights, and like you're playing Vi or Hecarim or Blitzcrank, choose between Locket of Iron Sword or Even Shroud. Ever Shroud sounds so much better. Why would they name it Even Shroud? You can also build both. Like, the jungler builds Locket and the support builds the other item. So although it's probably better to do it the other way around, honestly. Mikael's Blessing was changed as 250 HP. You said 50 MR is now 0. The build path was changed a little bit. Healing Shield power was nerfed from 16% to 15%. And the active now restores 100 to 250 HP to the target, even yourself, and gain unique passive gain 25% base health regeneration for every 25% base mana regeneration. So this well, that was actually interesting because so it helps stuns, but also the big issue with enchanters is that if they get like I guess poked, they have a hard time sustaining because all of a sudden they have to start sustaining themselves instead of allies. So if you build this item, it actually gives you quite a bit of sustain because of the natural HP regen increase. So is it probably a general item that's good against I don't know, you're versing a Leona and you're playing Enchanter? This is a good item, honestly. So I actually like this. This is a very good item. I think this is better than the old version because the 50 MR was a very selfish stat for a support item. Moonstone recruit juice cost from 2,500 to 2,300. New build. Ability Power Lord by 5. Unchanged. Some new stuff. So it now gets 5 ability haste with a mythic passive, but healing or shielding ally change to the nearest ally champion, excluding yourself, healing for 20 to 35% based on target's level, or shielding 30 to 40% based on the target's level of the original amount. So instead of healing the person with the lowest HP, it now when you heal or shield, it will now heal 25% or shield them. So, hmm, I hmm. I think they got rid of the like healing it just gives the people, right? Because now you actually have to heal them for it to proc. So I think this is to help like those cheesy mid lane moonstone issues that they were having. I think that's how it works. Again, I don't really play support, so I don't care too much. But I actually do play support a little bit. But I'm not gonna think too much into it. Radiant Virtue. Their goal was to make it so fighters stop building it, but I don't think it accomplishes it. Gold cost was 3,200. Now it's 2,700. Whatchamacallit? Aegis Legion is still an item. So it's now Aegis Legion plus Giant Spell plus 600 gold. Total cost or total HP was 400. Now it's 350. The build path is actually probably a bit better, honestly, because it's cheaper, so it's better because of that fact. Armor unchanged, MR unchanged. Ability haste was 20. Now it's 10. That's a pretty big nerf. The big nerf to it though was the Transcendence. Instead of giving what should we call it 50% increased HP, and now it gives 12.5, and it heals only 2.5% of your maximum HP every 3 seconds instead of 3%. So it went from 12% all the way down to I think 10.5%. Ice and also grants all other legendary items 100 bonus HP. Now it's 75. Now it's 75 bonus health. Um, I still think Fires are gonna build this because the biggest thing about this item is that it's competitive. It's just a ball of stats. Like it's why you see junglers build items like Even Shroud, Locket, Protein, and Radiant Virtues. Just because it gives the stats you need to survive burst and fight in skirmish. This item still gives the stats to fight in skirmish. It's just sure the ability haste was nerfed, and sure the active was nerfed, but it still is a very strong active. And the mythic passive doesn't matter too much because again, it's not too big. Mythic passives barely play a role into the game, unless in extreme scenarios. Like the old Kraken Slayer mythic passive was actually quite big. For example, on Belveth. So overall, it's cheaper. You can spend more gold on other things, which is why I don't think the nerf actually even matters. It's still a very strong item. Vias will still build this item. Like just yeah, honestly, like even Belveth, I honestly think the mythic, you're probably gonna go like Kraken Slayer Blade King into like Jack the Protein and or Locket or Evershot or Raiden Virtue. You don't do in Belveth because I don't think it works with our ultimate. So yeah. Redemption, all that happened was some new build. Health increased by 50. Heal and shield power was nerfed from 16% to 15%. It now heals from it was 180 to 340. Now it's 200 to 400 HP. Big buff to Redemption because no one really uses it because it's an active. It's way stronger now though. Does the same damage to champions though, and has a new unique passive where base health regen increased for every 25% base health regen increased for every 25% base meta regen. What was the item that had that before? Yeah. So you either Mikael's Blessing or Redemption. I really like that passive. I really like the idea of making enchanters less selfish and more go in and do something instead of just hanging in the back and hope you don't die to a Zed or something. I actually am a big fan of that. I like this a lot. So you choose between Redemption or Mikael's for the sustain, so you don't have to sustain yourself and can actually sustain your teammates. Shurelya's Battle Song. They say it was a slight nerf. It was actually quite a big nerf. So this was like the loser of the enchanters or support changes. Gold cost was decreased from 2,500 to 2,300. A little bit of a 200 less gold. That's all was changed with the build path. 5 less ability power. Nothing else was changed. The only thing that was changed is instead of 25% movement speed for 1.5 seconds, it's now 20% bonus movement speed for 1.5 seconds. So uh, it took some of the power out of the passes. Yeah, so I swear I read this differently. I guess it was in a different dimension. So yeah, their goal was to remove the past because it was a little bit too strong. This item is what encourages the AD carry meta where they just peel for the AD carry, give them a million movement speed. So they trimmed it down. It was probably just a little bit too. It was a too strong of an item, honestly. So I like that. When I play like Runaan now I feel like it's more of a choice. Like you don't want to. Like, on Runaan, I always felt like Shurelya was always the best item. But now it's like, oh, now I feel like it's a choice. Like, do I build my Locket? So I'm actually a big fan of this. Yeah, just wait. I'm actually curious. Does Locket give health regen? No. So Staff of Flowing Water, gold cost decreased by again. It's a common theme. Just gold cost decreased by 200. Um, New build path Aether Wisp included now, which is good. Ability Aether Wisp is actually very strong. So building that with this item is quite strong. Ability power is 50, now it's 35. Base Gen was decreased from 100% to 75%, and now it's 5% movement speed. And it used to give 25 to 45%. No, 25 to 45 ability power. Now it's 30 to 45 ability power, so a little bit buff, and then same ability haste. So overall, the biggest buff for this item it was the decreased gold cost, less selfish ability power stat in exchange for movement speed. So overall, very strong. I'm not sure when you would build this item. Again, a lot of champions have an ability power ratio, so I think you'll definitely see Staff of Flowing Water more. Even on champions that don't have build like Rageblade, again like Vayne and even Kindred, they have a little bit of an AP ratio. So, the Staff of Flowing Water is pretty good for the ability power and ability haste. So, just saying. Watchful Wardstone can only be built now when you complete a support item. This is your support quest. I'm not sure if it means the first support quest or the second support quest. Um, I think it's kind of sad because um, I actually built this item on Blitzcrank because it gave decent stats and it was cheap and it was a slot for control words. So kind of sad you can't build that anymore. I kind of wish, honestly, like that control words has had a dedicated slot. I really do. I really feel like next season they should just do that. Preseason change. Control words just have a dedicated slot because I really feel like because they take a slot, people are just so selfish about it. But if it didn't take a slot, I feel like you would see more team play and less selfishness. Because it honestly triggers me when I see that support by Amp Tome instead of a control word. I played Dota 2, and like Dota 2 used to have a problem with inventory management, but nowadays it's not an issue because they move the town portal scroll, which is a recall, into a separate slot and stuff, and it's like they gave you 3 extra slots that aren't active but are like essentially inventory spaces. I really feel like they should just make control words a separate slot. They should definitely just do that because it's too it's one of the most annoying thing when you're playing a support is you're juggling so many items around, and even when you're playing jungle, I mean maybe it was mitigated because again they made more items combined instead of having 2 longswords. It's just one Hearthstone axe, but I still think it should be a thing done. It's just because like late game 6 items, it's like well I can't buy control words. Isn't that kind of like silly? Like are you really gonna say oh you're exchanging that 1 item for a control word? It's just like come on, isn't this a team game? Shouldn't we encourage the people to buy control words? You know, like I really feel like they should do that. rework this item to something else or something, honestly. Because I feel like there's a simple solution to the problem, but they didn't want to do it. A new unique passive is grant an 8% increase at bonus HP, attack damage, ability haste, and ability power. I swear I already did this, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I think it was like 5%, right, or 3%. It was something like that. Village and War Song now it does not automatically upgrade. You have to pay money to upgrade it. You need to pay 1,200 extra gold after building Watchful Hearthstone, or a total of 2,300. And I think the stats are all the same. It's but again they don't say new here. So did it always give 20% bonus HP and like health and attack damage? I guess it did. Um, I guess it did. I don't know. That seems like a lot. Did it always do that? I guess it did. I guess so. I'll look later. I guess on my own time. Zeki's has got lower costs just to streamline it. 200 less. 200 less gold. 50 less HP. 10 more armor, 5 less ability haste, and nothing else which can change. Divine Thunder got a slight nerf on ADs and a neutral change to AD carries. It was 125% base AD plus 6%, 3% of range of the target's max HP. Now it's 160 of base AD plus 4%, 2% of range of the target's maximum HP. So it's about a 10 to 20 nerf on like a Wukong or Viego that builds this item against a champion with like 2,000 HP. If they have like 1,500, it's probably like a 5 to 15 damage nerf, roughly, in that first proc. Or it doesn't matter if it's first or second. It's just the proc. But on range champions is actually neutral because notice that they only lower the range damage by 1%, but they buff the AD ratio, the base AD by 35%. And it's not like there's a base AD ratio for range champions. So Divine Thunder is actually the same for range users, extreme except in extreme cases against like a 5,000 HP Scion. Okay, like if the champion has like 2 to 3,000 HP, it's like this. It's the same for range users, and as the game goes on, it's actually a between a 5 to like 35 probably max. If the target has like 3,000 HP, nerf for melee users. So overall, neutral change for range users, a slight nerf to melee users. This also means that I believe you heal for 100% of the damage dealt, but with this passive. So again, you'll heal 5 to 15 or 20 less damage. So quite a big nerf on Divine Thunder. At least I think that's how it works. Again, I kind of wish they said that. Like they should have note, this means you'll heal less. Fimbulwinter got a big buff because no one built this item because our other items are quite strong and this requires too much uptime. Build up time. Excuse me. When the shield procs, it will no longer consume your mana. Pretty huge because it means that every other shield thereafter will be stronger. Force Nature got a well-deserved nerf. This item was busted for ages, and I feel like it was not being abused enough. Maybe it's being abused lately, and that's why they nerfed it. So total cost was 2,900, now it's 2,800. Health was 350, now it's 400. Magic resist was 70, now 60. Max stacks of Absorb was 6, now it's 10. They no longer gives multiplicative magic damage reduction, and essentially they even said this item gave 50% resist to magic damage by itself, which is broken. Dissipate now grants 30 bonus magic resistance. So this passive activates if you have maximum stack. So in a full combo, like LeBlanc comboing you or Cassio, you won't get this 30 MR until way later. So this is this is really being encouraged to be built on like some big 3,000 to 5,000 HP tank with a good resistances to actually last long enough against those 10 to get 10 stacks that have 30 MR. And if the target has, a voice staff, is not as broken because against a flat out like 20% magic damage reduction, you can't do anything against that. There's not like there's an item that reduces that. So it was just busted before. This is a way again. Good change. Gore Drinker total cost decreased from 3,300 to 3,200. The mythic passive was 50 bonus HP. Now it's 75 bonus HP per legendary item. Overall, I think this is correct. I like that it didn't buff the AD or buff the healing. I think this item's always been kind of strong, but maybe like a little bit underpowered. It's always between like 48, sometimes gets to 50%, But yeah, this is probably the correct move to make it 100 gold less and make it actually a choice between Sunder and Gore Drinker. You know, like now with Viego, I actually feel like it might be even a choice between do you get Sunder, do you get Gore Drinker, or do you get Trinity Force? Uh, about Trinity Force, we'll see that change soon. Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker is a very strong item. Got big buff too. Now attack damage was buffed by 10 as a new build order as well. Um, it was pickaxe phage plus 825 gold. Now it's pickaxe phage plus winged moonplate plus 225 gold. It's kind of weird because why did not? How come gold cost is here? Why didn't they put gold cost here? You know? Because like even look at this. Like I don't know why they did that. I mean, because I'm gonna look for an actual better. Yeah, look at this. Total cost reduced, but and then they said that the cost, and then the they say the new build. Why did they not do the same here? That's a mistake. They should go fix it. Um, so they increased the gold by 200. It gives 10 more AD, but it now gives 5% movement speed, which is probably good because when you're split pushing, you want to move fast. You want to be able to get in let the minions go in and instantly go to the tower. You want to dash out if it's bad or fight people. So pretty big buff the Hullbreaker because again, this is just a flat out 5% movement speed. So for 200 gold increase for 10 more AD and 5% movement speed, that's a big gain. Lord Down's regards, crazy. Crazy. This is crazy. This is the thing that is going to make Kog'Maw broken. As like you think you're going to finally build that counter to Kog'Maw. Nope. So it was deal increased physical damage. Now it's deal increased physical and magic damage based on maximum health difference. Also, I lied. I actually thought it was Magic Pen at first, but I was like, wait, I think I'm wrong, but I didn't say anything. But yeah, it's actually so it's not Magic Pen, which is fine because again, if somebody does 10% maximum HP, if you deal more damage, you actually kind of make it deal less damage. Yes, you'll be doing more, but it doesn't matter as much. But essentially, deal increased magic and physical damage based on maximum health difference. So the Blade King does more damage with Kog'Maw. The Kraken Slayer does more damage, and the Gunsoo's Rageblade, Kog'Maw's W does more damage now. So I think this is this like a 20% increase? Maybe it's a 30 increase, but all of a sudden like Kog'Maw's 8% maximum HP on hit W now deals 10%. Like that's freaking crazy. On top of that, he has armor pen. Um, I wonder if this item's good at all to build on like champions I wish I could think of some crazy build like with like Viego or Belveth. I don't think so, because it's like even though Krakenslayer does magic damage, I don't think you would benefit too much from it. You know, although maybe if you need a lot of magic pen, but you would just build Black Cleaver. Hmm. This helps Kindred a little bit with her wolf, I guess. Lost Chapter got buffed. It was 1,300 gold. Now it's 1,100, and it was amplify 2 amp tone plus sapphire crystal plus 80 gold. Now it's amp tone plus sapphire crystal plus 265 gold. It's kind of funny they even did this because they even said mid laners are the strongest things in pro play, so we're keeping an eye out. Well, bro, I'm pretty sure you're just mega busted now, right? Because now they get because if you I've seen videos of people saying like how to play mid lane, like oh Korean and stuff, right? But like the biggest thing is just you want to be able to back to buy that big power spike item. So now like doing that is a lot easier and manageable. So yeah, you're gonna see a big up power spike on these mages because they're gonna be able to shove the lane back and buy a lost chapter and TP or just run back the lane and have infinite mana sustain essentially. So I'm not sure about buffing it. It probably feels good, but you're probably gonna have to nerf something about that or mages. I'm just saying, like I think it's a fine change. I do think it's fine, but mages are a little bit broken. Okay, and also Mama Mortis total cost decreased from 2,900 to 2,800. The cooldown of this was 75 seconds. Now it's 90 seconds. The active duration of the shield was 5 seconds. Now it's 2.5 seconds. So if a mage like LeBlanc goes in and pops it, she can wait and then go back in soon after, or even Cassio, she can just wait and go on someone else. The gold cost decrease is interesting. This is overall a very interesting change because it's cheaper to get, but it's less effective. But it's still the same power of like raw shielding. So I like it. I like it's more timing based and allows more. I like those interactions of like counterplay. I like that. So I think that's good. Ravenous Death Cup is never built because Void Staff is too broken and other items that actually do something are too broken. So they just buff the damage from 35% to 40%. So will you see this built? Yeah, I mean Vargar is gonna love it. I'm not sure. Again, it might be a problem of like again, like maybe other mage items are just a little bit too strong. Maybe you nerf them a little bit or something. I don't know. Stark's Gauge. They just brought back the old passive it had where when Lifeline triggers, the user gains 25% increased size and 30% tenacity for 8 seconds. So again, this is what I'm talking about with Belveth, where like do you go Immortal Shieldbow or Sterix? Because Belveth loves Black Cleaver. Like my favorite build on Belveth before this patch was Kraken Slayer, Black Cleaver, Titanic. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do now. Like it might be something like maybe I still do Black Cleaver. Like it might even be Blade King. Like again, it's debatable whether or not to get Blade King, no Kraken Slayer or Blade King. I need to test the power of both of them, and then Black Cleaver, Titanic, and then fourth item is probably gonna be a tank item, and then like this finish off with the Sterix Gauge. And you'll just have so much HP and so much tankiness. So I mean, like it's kind of unlikely because I feel like the shield build's only good if you're going for like some kind of like Kraken Slayer, Immortal Shieldbow, and like maybe some other crit item or something, or maybe that's enough. But if you go Blade King, you definitely do not want to get Immortal Shieldbow. You probably want to get the Sterix. Strikebreaker, big buff. Um, so buffing Strikebreaker to up to Sunder's power level. I think it's funny that they're just admitting that Divine Sunder has been broken for 2 years. I don't like how long Divine Sunder has taken to be nerfed. I'm not sure how that item has been allowed to be so broken and why it wasn't addressed so much sooner. They just let it be the meta defining. It's been a meta defining item for ages. It might still be, but again, it's getting chipped at, which is what you should always do. I should see like every month a little bit of a chip to it. Like, even early on, I should have tried a bigger chip, but it always should have been like oh, take away 5 damage off it. The unique, the passive. You should have been doing that. It might be fine now, finally after 2 years. But again, they literally just flat out buff Strikebreaker from 5080 to 680. That's it. So, and this item, I like playing fighter. I've always liked fighter Rek'Sai. Back in the day, back when I boosted guys, I used to build the Black Cleaver Titanic Hydra and like Blade King Rek'Sai sometimes. Blade King was situational. I think did I always build it? I honestly forget, but I always liked being that fighter. Strikebreaker, I like Strikebreaker and Rek'Sai. It always felt better. I haven't played much Rek'Sai because I hate Prowler's Claw. I hate how gimmicky it is. I hate it's just like it feels so unnatural playing Rek'Sai, a big burrowing monster. You click like the one key of Prowler's Claw, and you just like all of a sudden dash to them, and it's like I just didn't like it. I just feel like it ruined the champion's theme. It ruined their excitement. It ruined those big moments where you felt good. It didn't feel like I accomplished anything. That was the thing about that item. So with Strikebreaker, you still have to get in range. You need to time it. Like, do I unburrow damage and then use Strikebreaker? Do I use Strikebreaker, bait out their flash, and then flash W? Like Strikebreaker is way more interesting of an item than Prowler's Claw, infinitely. And they buffed it by 1080. Strikebreaker was the second item that people were building on Rek'Sai. It was literally either Prowler's Claw or Strikebreaker. And pretty much all the Rek'Sai players should definitely build Strikebreaker and try to get used to it because it is probably definitely the go-to item since the Prowler Claw is nerf. I'm gonna I think I definitely play Rek'Sai because I love Rek'Sai. I just hate what they did to her. I hate assassins. I love fighters and tanks. I love those. Those are the two things I love a lot. I hate assassins. I don't feel good one-shotting someone. I don't feel good all of a sudden getting in front of your face suddenly. I don't like that. I like getting the flanks off. And so just having 10 AD, Rek'Sai is a crazy AD ratios, and it helps clearing. It helps the passive active damage of Strikebreaker, and so the Strikebreaker was always like a 46 to like 49, 50% win rate on Rek'Sai compared to Prowler's Claw's 51 to 53%. So it also might be just because people are used to Prowler's Claw and they're not used to playing with Strikebreaker, like maybe with someone testing it. But yeah, definitely get used to Strikebreaker because Rek'Sai might not even need many changes besides maybe a little bit of a tankiness set. Maybe buff her armor per level. Maybe buff her HP by like 100 or something. Like as in, like the HP per level by 100. I feel like because they buffed it by 1080, she's probably fine. honestly. So I'm just saying, I'm not a big fan of buffing like the flat damages on her abilities at all. So good job. People are worried about Rek'Sai, but I actually think if people build this item and get used to it, she might be fine. But she might need a little bit of a durability buff because she was nerfed because of so many. Like I forget how she was nerfed, but like she could be a little bit more tanky, a little bit more fightery, you know. So because I think she was being a balancer on assassin. Trinity Force got a ginormous buff. The threefold strike duration was 3, and it's not 5 seconds. And by the way, how it works is if you have like 5 stacks of this item, it deteriorates by like it takes 3 seconds, then it would be 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, 5 second. So it would take like 8 seconds to get rid of all the stacks. So now it takes like 10 seconds to remove all the stacks. Because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. Um, Attack damage was 35, now it's 40. Attack speed was 30, now it's 35. I'm a big fan. Trinity Force has always needed some a little bit of love. I kind of wish they just put the crit back on Trinity Force. Although because they made items like Navori not crit anymore, I'm not sure about that. I kind of just miss having crit animations on champions. Like I miss building this item on Hecarim. But my favorite Hecarim iteration was when you would E and you have a 20% chance that you crit and you do so much damage. They nerfed his E a lot because his E used to crit, so that 200% damage would crit for a 400 on the E, which was crazy. Um, I'm still a fan of giving Trinity Force the crit chance back, honestly, but this item is definitely a lot stronger, and I would even say Trinity Force is probably better to get on Viego now. It used to be very close with Divine Asunder, but and I used to think Trinity Force was better on Viego, but the thing is that again, healing from Divine Asunder was too much to pass up, and two, uh, if you combo things correctly on Viego, Divine Asunder did more damage than Trinity Force. So these raw stats, it might be better to build the Trinity Force on Viego now, for instance. I'm not sure about like champions like Belveth, probably not lol, because she's not really an on-hit champion. In like a Spellblade champion. So yeah, definitely try this out on Viego. I think it's definitely probably good. Blade King Trinity Force probably very strong. Definitely don't get it first. First item Trinity Force is bad on Viego. Get second item Trinity Force on Viego. Um, some early game adjustments. So Fountains now regain from 2.1% max mana to 3.1% max mana every 0.25 seconds. So now you don't have to wait for mana, which I like a lot, which is good. Home guard timer was 20 seconds, now it's 14 seconds. How do I feel about this? Probably good because it mostly impacts losing teams, believe it or not. Although maybe it impacts higher teams, but it's probably a good change. Blast cone time was 5 to 5:30. Now it's 9 to 9:30. Initial spawn at like the Baron pit and like behind the Baron pit, behind the Dragon pit. So you can't do like crazy ganks. So that's good. I think that's good. I just think it's good. Why? You should know. Um, the for the first 14 minutes, bot and top minions will meet up at the same time as mid lane. It stops after 14 minutes, but it doesn't work for the first wave. So the first wave will be the same, but after that, your bot lane minions and top lane minions will reach the lane just as fast as mid lane up until 14 minutes. So the game might change a lot. And the biggest thing here is that they say mid lane could farm mid, then go roam, and just as they're finishing clearing the wave bot or top, they get ganked. But now they can clear it. So now it's actually like, oh, I cleared this wave. Do I go roam and actually give up my wave? So mid lane again. Maybe this is why they buffed off chapter is because all of a sudden mid lane got nerfed because now they can't clear and do something like and like be like, wait, where are they? Wait, is it even safe to farm right now? Type of thing. Also nerfs things like Singe mid with like Predator. When minions also attack a tower, they ignore call for help, which means if 20, let's say 6 melee minions and 12 caster minions are on a tower, they and you attack a champion, or I hit I how wait how does it work? Sorry. So and the defending champion hits an enemy champion, they won't change target and deal like 100 damage to them with like all the magic hits and stuff. So this was mostly a nerf to I guess like being oppressive with like shoving the lane and then like just getting so much damage, and if you ever retaliate you take a billion damage. And also it's a nerf to tower dives because if you retaliated at all during the tower dive, the minions would aggro onto you. So yeah, I'm a big fan of both changes. They did a change where now instead of doing either bonus 80 or 60% of AP on towers on hit with your autos on your champion. It now does total AD plus 60% AP. So it won't choose between 60% AP if it's a higher value than your total AD damage. It now does both. So hybrid champions actually can push better now. So again, it's interesting they said it's unintended to nerf hybrid champions, but Riot says like Riot's scared to do a hybrid champion because it's hard, they say it's hard to make them feel good / hard to counterplay. But I think they easily could. With how items are, how everything is armor and MR, I think they easily could. I don't think it's actually an issue. Like 80, like I think they're just scared to do it. Uh, I also already feel like there are already hybrid champions like Teemo, you know, like Blade King and maybe build like a little Leandries or something. I don't know. Turret plating. It was 8 to 180 based on number of champions turret plating. Now it's 45 to 225 based on number of champions. How much it gets when a plate goes down. So what if it was one champion? You wouldn't even gain any armor or what? Play rush 20 seconds after taking play. Maybe this means no champion. So if no champion is a 45, I guess so. I should just say 1 to 5 or 0 to 5. Unleash teleport got buffed. It was a 14-minute usage. Like it gets activated 14 minutes. Now it's 10 minutes. The cooldown was 240 seconds. Now it's 330. The 340 seconds based on levels 1 through 10. 10 minutes in, so it's actually a slight nerf to it. For like the first unleash teleport you use. This also means that you can unleash teleport 4 minutes before the laning phase ends with like turret playing. So I hope that's not a big issue. But the biggest thing is that they want the top laner to be there for the dragon. The dragon to the second dragon fight, if as long as the first dragon was killed properly or at the proper time. I also just think they should just add portals like they did in Dota 2. I had this idea, but I swear Dota 2 stole this idea where I wanted 2 gates or some kind of some gates that teleports you. Like, oh, to the top, I teleport and go bottom, and it's like a cooldown or something. That's what I always thought they should do. But the Dota stole my idea. They probably I think Ice Frog literally put it on his mind control device and like read my mind or something. He's like, show me the geniuses of this land, and he actually like found my brain or something. Okay. Trinket changes. Farlight alteration will not provide vision over walls within 500 units. So if he uses in a bush like the blue buff bush, it will actually show the wall, which is interesting. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it means. So pretty big. So it's easier to use now. First, will not ping enemy champions revealed on the main map. I'm not sure if this means found or if like what if they just passed by it. Probably both. Because now upon detecting an enemy champion for the first time, Farsight will ping the enemy champion on the minimap, expand its vision radius to 800 units, so 300 increase, and then self-destruct. There will still be enough time for the enemy to destroy the ward for 15 gold. So one thing I like about this is that if you pass by the ward, and didn't notice it, it'll still blow up, so that's nice. They get more vision though. One thing I don't like about this ward is that I hate the idea that it lasts forever. I believe it does last forever. It might be, yeah, if zombie ward doesn't last forever. I'm not sure why they didn't put a cooldown on this. They should honestly just put a 3-minute cooldown on the ward itself. I'm not sure why it's infinite. I don't like infinite things like that. Because if the winning team is winning super hard and they can prevent you from going there, if you put like a weird ward, like Farsight ward in a bush where they don't go for a long time, they'll finally branch out and be like, oh, this ward you put 10 minutes ago found me, and now I can't flank. Oracle Lens. If the owner of an Oracle Lens is actively hitting a ward, their team will now gain vision of the ward so they can completely clear it out. Note, 2 seconds of vision will be granted since the last hit before Oracle ran out. So if I hit the ward and my thing ran out, and I as long as you have more than 1 attack per second, and like say I'm Viego, I'm like 1.25 attack speed. If I hit the ward, then my Oracle died. I can actually do my next 2 hits and probably kill the ward. Oh, but I should probably need like 1.5, right? I don't know. But it'll be those times where those wards live with 1 HP, you will actually kill it. Oracle Lens will have 2 charges. Recharge time was 120 to 60 seconds. That was 160 to 100 seconds. So, wow, that's a big nerf. Wow, so it has 2 charges, so you can save charges, I guess. But yeah, the cooldown on it is really high, and duration was 10 seconds, now 6 seconds. So this was a win more thing. So Overall, very good change. You need to be very precise and know where the enemy warded before you can't just use it and be like, oh, I know all this information for free. So that's good. And there are some bug fixes. I'm not sure if there's anything notable. Um, wow, that's bad. Fix the bug where Neeko's passive disguise would break upon attacking if the monster was disguised as died. Um, there's some. I honestly I don't really know what else. Fix the bug where Neeko would keep. Fix the bug where Neeko would keep 2.5% attack speed when Neeko stands next to a ward and exits the sword and trend. What's freaking weird? Fix the bug where Unleash Teleport's icon would not visually upgrade until exiting the fog of war. That's weird. Again, there's probably a lot of bugs. I can't be bothered reading all these bugs. If there's anything notable, be sure to tell me. And that's it. So yeah, I just try to be fast. This was a lot. This is pretty much This is what the preseason should have had. But whatever. I guess it's okay simply because there's 2 seasons essentially where first when the season begins, a bit of a reset, and then the halfway mark, there's a little bit of more of a reset, like not as strong as a reset. There's a little bit of a reset. So yeah, there's that. So I guess it's okay. So yeah, tell me what you think. Bye.